Good morning, everyone. Welcome to another Rookie Card Collector 123 video. Today's episode, I'm going to cover my second baseball card set that falls into the vintage baseball tobacco card category. Last episode, we covered the T200 Fatima team cards. Today, we're going to take a look at the T3 Turkey Red cabinets. Many collectors would consider these Turkey Red cabinets, which are very much oversized, to be the most beautiful pre-war oversized baseball cards ever produced. They were produced in full color. They used a lot of bright pastel colors, a lot of yellows, greens, and light blues in the background, as well as the player images. And just one of my favorite sets for sure. These were available in two different backs, actually three different backs, really. There's a checklist back, which checklists the 100 baseball player cards in the set. In addition to the 100 baseball players issued, there was also a total of 25 boxing cards issued as well. So it would really be considered a multi-sport set, with a significant portion of it being the baseball players. And like I started to say, they're produced with either a checklist of the baseball players on the back, or there was also advertising for Turkey Red, which was a cigarette brand, on the back of the cards. That was a second type of back that can be found. In general, the Turkey Red advertising backs, tougher to find than the checklist backs. And not every card or not every baseball player had the option of the two different backs. Some of them were only produced with the checklist back. Some of them were produced with both checklist and Turkey Red. Several of the players in the series are listed as with two different ball clubs. And the reason for this was the set was produced over two different years. The first 50 baseball players, along with the first 25 boxers, were produced in 1910. The second group of 50 baseball players, comprising the total of 100, the second group of 50 produced in 1911, the year after. So some players changed teams during those two seasons between 1910 and 1911, and that's what accounts for some players having been listed with one team on the card, and then the second year, 1911, if they changed teams, so was the card produced the same image but with a different team listed on the card. These cards could be obtained only by mail-in. You would send in coupons from either Turkey Red, Old Mill, or Fez tobacco products. I believe it was 40 coupons you had to mail in, and they would send you one of these Turkey Red cabinets. And these cabinets, like I said, beautiful artist depictions, a lot of pastel colors, and they were made on a very thick cardboard. So creasing, not usually too much of an issue with these. Because of the nature of how large they were, a lot of people tended to pin them up on the walls or somewhere else like that, using either thumbtacks or nails even. So many of them can be found with holes in them, actually, either in the four corners or in the top center and bottom center, depending on how they hung up the card on their wall or wherever they put it. There's also a decent amount that have small sections of the corners missing for that same reason. They were displayed, usually hung up on the corners. When they were taken down, maybe not as carefully, corners could get clipped off or easily damaged. So size of these thick cabinet cards was 5 3/4 by 8. So, like I said, one of the biggest cards of the pre-war early tobacco, early candy card era. They were full color lithographs that were surrounded by a wide gray border on the front. And I mentioned already the two different types of backs, the turkey red advertising as well as the set checklist on the back. The key players in the set, just about all the major stars from that 1910, 1911 era were covered. One major omission would have to be Honus Wagner, again, for probably the reason why his T206 tobacco card is so rare. He was not a big fan of kids looking to collect his cards from a tobacco product. He was concerned about kids and the danger with them smoking tobacco not being good for their health and all that kind of thing. So Wagner's not in there. The major stars that are included would be Ty Cobb, Cy Young, Christy Mathewson, Nap Lajoie, Tris Speaker, and Walter Johnson. So some really big names in there. Because it's a 100-card baseball player issue, there's also a lot of lesser-known players that did not appear in too many other sets other than this T3 Turkey Red issue. So it could be an opportunity to get a playing days card that might otherwise be hard to find. In general, these cards over the years have not been real expensive. I think it's kind of limited by the size of the cards. A lot of collectors don't go after these as heavily as a card like a T206 or a T205 gold border. But in the last few years, especially since the COVID boom, these Turkey Reds have increased in demand and popularity quite a bit, especially along the same lines as everything else these days. The players that have increased the most are the biggest names, the Ty Cobbs, the Walter Johnsons, the Cy Youngs, those players, as opposed to the more common players, which you can normally pick up for $100 or so, give or take, in decent condition. But the Cobbs and the bigger names get into the thousands, especially in decent or better shape. So I'm going to show a few examples of the Turkey Reds. I picked out three players, three of the biggest names. So the first one we're going to show is Ty Cobb here. This one's got him in a pretty common pose. He appears on a few different card images, as well as some notebook covers. Notebook covers from that era, 1910 to 1920, was also a popular thing to collect. Baseball players appearing on notebook covers. And they're pretty scarce. But this Cobb, one of my favorite images in the set, I actually have a copy of a nice example of this one. This one's in a Beckett holder, but all the grading companies have holders these days large enough to encapsulate these. And as you can see, the background, the brightness on this card is not as bright as some others I've seen, but the background with the multicolored sky, the baseball stadium, the infield dirt, and of course the image of Cobb, beautiful picture there. Next one I'm going to show is Cy Young. And this one, again, the light pastel colors, the sky, multicolor sky in the background, the green fields, the pitching mound dirt there, and another surrounded by white borders and the Cy Young's name and team designation on the bottom in the gold bar there, same as Cobb was. So another really nice card, very popular one as well. And the third and the last one I'm going to show today from this set is Walter Johnson. Really nice image in his blue uniform here. Washington Senators, very early in his career, 1910, 1911. And one of my favorite Walter Johnson cards. Don't have this one yet, hoping to pick one up at some point, maybe in the near future. But again, really nice Hall of Fame image there. So that wraps up today's episode on the T3 Turkey Reds issued between 1910 and 1911. And one of my favorite oversized sets. The Cobb, definitely my favorite card from the set. and something I think a lot of people should consider taking a look at in terms of beauty and also affordability, especially when you get the non-Hall of Famers. You can get these really nice cards for not a lot of money. Like I said, $100, $200 probably. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Have a great day, and I'll catch you guys again on the next one.